I didn't actually set out to make this documentary, but what I captured with my camera over 6 months turned it into one. The fastest, fiercest, most beautiful seconds I've ever witnessed. During my photographic cycling adventures along the rivers and canals of Surrey, I would often hear tales from folk walking their dogs or out for a stroll. Tales of encounters with a mythical bird, the blue flash of a kingfisher. In early summer I caught a glimpse of that blue flash. I pointed my camera as it disappeared downstream, not quite in focus, but for the first time I had captured an image of a kingfisher. That moment marked the beginning of this story. Over the following days and weeks, I learned to wait patiently, and after many failed attempts, I started to get the hang of it. I also began to learn about the kingfisher itself, of which I knew very little. All of the images were captured along the banks of the River Mole in and around Cobham, Surrey, England, between June and December 2025. No baiting was used, no artificial perches, and no hides were used to conceal the camera, which was always at least 10 metres away from the kingfishers. Everything you see here is entirely wild, natural, undisturbed behaviour. A few other species encountered along the way are included. The River Mole winds its way northward through Dorking, Leatherhead, Cobham, Hersham and Esher, finally joining the River Thames opposite the Privy Garden of Hampton Court Palace. With its slow-flowing, fish-rich waters, the kingfisher, though not often seen, is seldom far away. Some of these film clips are in slow motion to demonstrate the speed and precision of this king of fishers. It's hard to convey with film just how fast they are. As they say, you had to be there. From a favoured perch, he watches the water below, moving his head, bobbing and tilting. The position of a fish appears displaced by refraction, but he compensates for this by viewing the prey from multiple angles, calculating its depth and position, using in effect the law of refraction. Usually attributed to Snell in the 1600s, Snell's law, but described over 600 years earlier by the Persian scientist Abu Sal al-Kuhi. But long before these learned scholars put equations to paper, the kingfisher had already mastered them. I filmed this spectacular sequence in November. 2 birds were perched about 40 metres away behind a tree. They may once have been a couple, now rivals. I left the camera rolling, hoping that I had acquired focus through the branches. The tense standoff lasted for about 10 minutes until the female made the decision for both of them and attacked. Kingfishers breed through spring and summer, working in pairs to defend their territory and raise their young. Outside of the breeding season, they typically return to solitary living and fiercely defend their patch. Any intruder, male or female alike, will be challenged, developing into spectacular, noisy, high-speed chases along the river, sometimes locking beaks in mid-air combat. The kingfisher spends its days patrolling about a kilometre of the river and is most often seen flying past at around 25 miles per hour. When they stop on a branch to scout for fish, often announcing their presence with a distinctive call, they are actually easier to photograph than more common skittish birds. Once perched, they do a quick risk assessment for threats, and if all is well and small fish are near, they will stay and hunt. Otherwise, they're gone in a few seconds, off to the next stop. But in either case, quick action with the camera often captured a nice takeoff or a dive shot. The tone of the adult's blue feathers is never quite the same, changing with the light, while the plumage of the fledglings is slightly subdued and they have brown feet, later becoming bright orange. The adult male can be identified by its fully black bill, the female having an orange patch on the lower half. Dives are usually launched from 1 to 10 feet above the river, often into water inches deep. It's usually all over in 2 or 3 seconds from perch to water and back again, not always to the same branch. Sometimes empty-billed, more often clutching a fish. The catch is struck against a branch, bones broken, killed swiftly, and swallowed whole. Always head first, unless destined for hungry chicks back at the nest. Just before water impact, smashing a fish on a branch, or sometimes when shaking off after a dive, a translucent third eyelid, the nictitating membrane, closes across the eyes, protecting while still allowing partial vision. In July, a breeding pair work tirelessly to feed their young, often returning to the same perches. The female paused to hover during a dive. This is the one and only time I saw this. I happened to be by the river on the 13th of August when the young had just fledged after a few weeks in the nest. They typically have 2 and sometimes 3 broods each year. They begged as they watched their parents demonstrating the craft of fishing. The parents often appeared impatient with their demanding young, almost as if they were shouting at them. I didn't get to see their nest, which was further downstream, out of sight and beyond the reach of my camera. The training ended after a few days as the adults aggressively drove the youngsters out of the territory, a harsh but necessary strategy. This stretch of the river can only support so many mouths. Let's hope they paid attention during their training. The fledglings are vulnerable in their first days. Birds of prey such as sparrowhawks and goshawks are real threats. Hawks will sometimes pursue the adults too, probably only succeeding if the kingfisher was caught off guard. I saw kingfishers throughout the day, though curiously they were often absent around lunchtime, perhaps taking a break. They appeared unbothered by me and my camera. Even passers-by didn't often spook them. I watched a kingfisher dive and snatch a fish, completely unfazed by a dog splashing in the river, barely 10 meters away. They're not as shy as you might imagine, confident in their speed and agility. Catch me if you can. This juvenile was photographed on the 29th of August. Perhaps a member of the recently exiled brood, returning to try his luck. Now a capable angler, this young hopeful stands a good chance of surviving winter to start a family of his own in the spring. By late November, the rhythm of the river changed. The once clear shallows, now muddy torrents. As the temperature fell and the days grew shorter, the kingfishers were not often seen in their usual hunting grounds, favouring calmer stretches and quieter backwaters, more often heard than seen. For this photographer, after some 200 hours by the river, the project had become an endurance test, and it was time to call it a day. I may well return though in the spring to see if my little friends are back. To the observer, a hunting kingfisher is a flash of colour, a small splash, blink and you'll miss it. Every movement is calculated in milliseconds when instinct, physics and survival converge. For me, the beauty, precision and symmetry of the kingfisher quietly bear witness to the workmanship of a creator.